Most men understand how to dress for the world. They know which suit to wear for a board meeting and which watch to strap on for a gala. But the true test of a man's taste, the ultimate trial of his effortless power, doesn't happen in a public skyscraper. It happens within the four walls of his own home. Imagine you've invited high-level partners or close friends over for an evening. You've spent thousands on the architecture, the art on the walls, and the wine in the cellar. But then you greet them at the door wearing a pair of tattered sweatpants and, heaven forbid, plastic garden clogs or rubber flip-flops. In that single, lazy moment, you haven't just dressed down. You have abdicated your throne. You have signaled that your elegance is merely a costume you put on for the public, rather than a fundamental part of your DNA. Hosting is the highest form of social chess. When you are the host, you aren't just a guest in the room. You are the owner of the atmosphere. Your style must reflect a man who is completely at ease, yet undeniably in control. It's about the power host silhouette, a delicate balance of textures like cashmere and velvet, paired with the quiet luxury of house loafers that have never seen a sidewalk. If you think being at home is an excuse to be sloppy, you are mistaken. At 50, your home is your sanctuary, and you are its commander. Today, we are going beyond the wardrobe. We are exploring how to dress, move, and command respect when you are the master of the domain. Because a true gentleman is never off duty. Let's begin. The foundation of being a power host begins with understanding the lounge silhouette, a specific aesthetic that bridges the gap between total relaxation and high-level social command. Many men over 50 make the fatal mistake of thinking that because they are behind their own front door, the rules of engagement no longer apply. They retreat into what I call the retirement trap. Faded hoodies, baggy sweatpants with stretched-out elastic, or old gym shirts that have seen better decades. Let's be clear. When you host an evening, you are the director of the play. If the director shows up looking like he just finished mowing the lawn, the performance is already a failure. True comfort is not found in oversized cotton or synthetic blends that sag at the knees. It is found in the tactile luxury of natural fibers that move with you, not against you. The centerpiece of this silhouette is the transition from structured to textural. While you've stepped away from the rigid shoulders of a business suit, you cannot abandon the concept of a silhouette entirely. This is where cashmere and fine merino wool become your greatest allies. A high-quality, mid-weight cashmere crewneck or a structured cardigan in charcoal, espresso, or deep navy provides a level of visual richness that cotton simply cannot touch. It catches the light differently, suggesting a depth of quality that reflects your own experience. When you wear these materials, you aren't just wearing an expensive sweater. You are wearing a layer of armor that says you are relaxed enough to be in your own home, but sophisticated enough to appreciate the finer things. It's a quiet flex that tells your guests that even your casual standard is higher than most people's best. Now, we have to address the lower half of this silhouette, where most men lose the plot. If you are entertaining partners or friends, the jogger has no place in your living room. Wearing joggers as a host signals that you've mentally checked out of the evening before it even began. Instead, the power host opts for trousers with drape and breathability. Think brushed flannel, high-end corduroy, or even a tailored chino with a bit of stretch. These garments provide the same physical comfort as your favorite pajamas, but maintain the sharp, clean lines required of a man in charge. They allow you to move from the kitchen to the lounge with a sense of fluidity. You want a trouser that suggests you could easily walk back into a boardroom if necessary, but you've chosen to stay here and pour another glass of vintage scotch instead. The roast here is for the man who thinks dressing for the home means disappearing into the furniture. If your lounge attire looks like something you'd wear to clean out the garage, you are doing your guests a massive disservice. Hosting is an act of respect. By presenting a silhouette that is intentional, clean, and textured, You are telling your guests that their presence is important enough for you to maintain your standards. There is a specific kind of arrogance in being too casual. It suggests that you don't value the occasion or the company. A true gentleman understands that his home is a stage, and the lounge silhouette is his costume of choice. A seamless blend of cashmere and tailored comfort that ensures he is the most interesting and authoritative man in the room, without ever having to raise his voice or adjust his tie. We move now from the silhouette to the foundation, and this is where most men, even the ones who think they've mastered the art of dressing, experience a total visual collapse. You can wear the finest cashmere and the most perfectly draped trousers, but if you are standing on your own Italian marble floors in a pair of white athletic socks, or, heaven forbid, rubber flip-flops, you have immediately lost the room. Footwear is the anchor of your presence. It dictates your posture, your gait, and the way you carry your weight in a conversation. When you are barefoot or in flimsy slippers, you tend to slouch. Your movement becomes casual and domestic. But a power host doesn't just walk through his home, he navigates it with intention. The centerpiece of indoor authority is the House Loafer. This is a specific category of footwear that many men over 50 have completely forgotten, yet it is the ultimate signal of a man who has mastered his environment. We are talking about velvet slippers, soft suede loafers, or high-end leather house shoes that have never, and will never, touch a sidewalk. These are shoes designed for the sanctuary. When you greet your guests in a pair of deep burgundy velvet slippers with a discreet monogram, you are signaling that you understand the nuance of luxury. You are telling them that your home has its own set of standards, its own level of ceremony, and that you are the one who dictates the pace of the evening. Now, let's address the rubber slide trap. I see it far too often. A man who has spent a fortune on his home, standing in his kitchen pouring a $300 bottle of wine while wearing a pair of mass-produced plastic clogs or gym slides. It is a jarring, painful contradiction. You think you're being practical or comfortable, but in reality, you look like a man who has surrendered. Rubber slides are for the locker room or the garden hose. They have no business being anywhere near a dinner party. They suggest a lack of effort that borders on disrespect for your guests. If you wouldn't wear them to a business lunch, why would you wear them when you are the one setting the tone for an entire evening of hospitality? The psychological impact of a proper house shoe is undeniable. When you step into a structured leather or velvet loafer, your back straightens, you stand taller, your movements become more deliberate. You aren't just hanging out in your house, you are presiding over it. This is especially important at 50, an age where the line between relaxed and retired can become dangerously thin. A house loafer keeps you on your toes, literally and figuratively. It provides the visual weight necessary to balance out the softer textures of your loungewear, ensuring that even in your most relaxed state, you remain a figure of undeniable authority. When selecting your pair, look for materials that speak to the season and the setting. Suede is excellent for a more understated, tactile warmth during a quiet winter evening. Velvet, on the other hand, is the gold standard for formal hosting. It carries an old money weight that is both regal and inviting. The sole should be leather or thin rubber, designed for silence and grace. You want to be able to move across the room like a ghost of elegance, not clomping around like you're wearing work boots. By investing in proper indoor footwear, you are completing the loop of your persona. You are proving that your style isn't a performance for the outside world, but a standard you live by every single second you are awake. The final layer of the power host is not something you wear, but something you project. The art of the commanding presence. If your clothes are the hardware and your house loafers are the foundation, then your movement and social orchestration are the software that runs the entire evening. At 50, you are no longer the frantic young man trying to ensure everyone has a drink every 5 seconds. That energy belongs to waiters and amateurs. A true master of the domain understands that a host does not serve his guests. He facilitates an elite experience. Your movement should be slow, deliberate, and entirely non-reactive. Whether you are walking to the cellar or stoking the fireplace, every action must look like it was preordained. If you are rushing, sweating, or looking stressed in your own home, you have effectively told your guests that the evening is more than you can handle, and the illusion of your effortless power vanishes instantly. The most visible test of this presence is the ritual of the pour. How a man handles a bottle and a glass in his own home says everything about his level of refinement. This is where the roast begins for the frantic host, the man who grips a wine bottle like a baseball bat or fumbles with a corkscrew while trying to keep a conversation going. At your age, your hands should be as steady as your portfolio. When you pour, it should be a moment of quiet focus. Use the proper tools, a heavy glass decanter, a crystal carafe, or a high-end bar kit, and handle them with the weight they deserve. The sound of ice against glass or the sight of wine breathing in a decanter is a sensory signal of quality. If you're pouring drinks into plastic cups or using a cheap promotional bottle opener you got at a trade show 10 years ago, you are signaling that you don't respect the liquid or the people drinking it. Beyond the physical, there is the social orchestration. A power host is the conductor of the room's energy. You aren't there to dominate the conversation with stories of your own glory. That is the mark of an insecure man. Instead, you use your authority to connect people, to spark debates, and to steer the evening away from the mundane. You make introductions that add value, highlighting the strengths of your guests so they shine in your orbit. The roast here is for the passive host, the man who lets the conversation die or allows one loud guest to hijack the entire night. You are the owner of the atmosphere. If the energy dips, it is your job to revive it with a well-timed question or a change in the music. You should be the most observant person in the room, noticing a half-empty glass or a guest who looks excluded before they even realize it themselves. The ultimate goal of this presence is to create a sense of security and sophistication. Your guests should feel that as long as they are under your roof, everything is taken care of at the highest possible level. This is why you never ask, "Is everything okay?" or "Do you need anything?" These are questions of the uncertain. Instead, you observe and provide. You offer a specific vintage or suggest a move to the terrace because you know it is the right move. This level of quiet confidence is intoxicating. It shows that you're a man who has mastered his external world so thoroughly that he can now focus on the comfort and elevation of those around him. When the night ends and your guests depart, they shouldn't just remember the wine or the food. They should remember the feeling of being in the presence of a man who is truly, undeniably, the master of his domain. At the end of the day, being a power host is about a fundamental truth. True elegance is not a performance you put on for the public. It is a lifestyle you maintain when the doors are closed and the world isn't watching. If you only dress well when there is a camera present, you aren't a man of style. You are just an actor in a costume. The three pillars we've discussed, the lounge silhouette, the house loafer, and your commanding presence, are the indicators of a man who has reached the pinnacle of self-respect. When you choose cashmere over cheap cotton, velvet over rubber, and deliberate ritual over frantic service, you are telling everyone in your orbit that your standards are non-negotiable. You are proving that your success hasn't made you soft or lazy. It has made you more precise. At 50, your home is the ultimate reflection of your journey. Don't let a pair of plastic slides or a tattered sweatshirt shatter the reputation you've spent 3 decades building. Treat your sanctuary with the respect it deserves, and you will find that your guests don't just leave your home impressed, they leave it knowing exactly who is in command. If you found this guide valuable, ensure you are subscribed to the channel. We are building a community of men who understand that casual is never an excuse for careless. Until then, remember, true power is silent, and real elegance is a 24-hour commitment. Thank you for watching. This is Mature Elegance. I will see you in the next one.